All right. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to the Hivemind Radio podcast. All of my friends have
Hi.
decided to ignore me, except
No,
for
I'm
Jacob.
here. This is now Jake and Jacob
Hey, what's up?
podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
That's true. Hive Mind is no more. We're Jacob Squared now.
So, this is something new for us. Usually, we just get together once a month to do music recaps every month. This time, we got special guest here,
Hello.
LUURK.
Oh
So,
Very.
That
was so awkward.
I need some more enthusiasm, right? Like you gotta be like,
awkwardness
yeah.
is kind
Oh
of-
yeah, there it is. Oh my goodness,
I
yes,
had to
sir.
hit him right in the feels right there.
awkwardness is
Yup.
kind of my specialty with this thing.
Yeah,
so
exactly. That's
basically-
what editing's for, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, perfect. There's no such thing as bloopers.
exactly.
So yeah, basically, we talked about LUURK's song "No Way Back" in our January recap. Caught wind of it, and now here we are. We have him here to just chat for a bit about some stuff and
Let's
things.
go.
You say we have him here. I think we kidnapped him.
Yeah, exactly. He
That
is
wasn't
stuck here
supposed
until
to
we
be
release
part
him.
of the
right? Like-
podcast. That was
I was
supposed to be a
hostage.
secret.
Yeah, I've got a microphone
Yeah.
down in my basement casting through.
Nobody
we-
even told me about this. Like I was just like one day I was added to some random Twitch thing, and then from there it was just
And we pulled up in the van. He was on his way home from work, walking home. We pulled up next to him, opened the van door, threw him in. He's had no
I don't even
idea
know
where
how
he's
they
at until
recognized
today.
me.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't even know how they knew who I was.
We didn't. You're like the fifth person.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The first four insisted they weren't LUURK. I don't know.
Yeah, apparently I've got some clones.
All this new technology is getting out of hand, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
getting
All
crazy.
these
AI is taking over.
deep fakes are just gone mad.
Deep fake. We're just kidnapping random people instead. Like,
Yeah.
So
Voice your
I
just
won't
God.
tell anyone.
so the people that are listening to this don't kidnap five other.
yeah,
people
exactly.
thinking that
This
they're
is
LUURK.
this is a public disclaimer. The Hive Mind Radio cast does not support kidnapping, right? Like this is not an endorsement
I'm
of
just gonna go into
kidnapping,
a
right?
transition where he actually talks about who he is, so that way you can separate them from the four people we
Yeah,
had.
exactly. Yeah, tell us a bit more about yourself so that you become more prone to kidnapping, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to narrow down an exact location real
Social
quick.
security number, all of it.
Right, yeah. Those zany, like, 16 digits on the front of your credit card and, like, the 3 numbers on the back, too. That'd be sick.
Yeah, it's simple
Um,
stuff. I actually saw a meme the other day. It was like, this guy was pretending to be Robert Downey Jr. and he's like,
Oh,
I
my
need your help. It's so funny. I was like, oh my god.
Someone was a fucking the baby. It was
Oh
the account
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
the baby account official. And he's like, yo, it's me, the baby. I'm out of money. If you want to help me, I'll give you a preview of my next song. Send me the 16 digits on the front of your credit card. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
Oh.
no.
It's funny. I love those pictures. God bless.
Isn't it funny how 4 idiots can spiral out of control so fast?
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, it's 5
4.
idiots now.
Yeah, it's 5 idiots.
I'm always
Did you
out
hear
of
that?
control. I don't know what
You're
you guys
one
are talking
thing.
about.
You're lumped into the group of us. So before I guess we get off track any further than we already have, I'm just gonna do the thing where I shill social media at the start of the episode.
Hit him with it. Hit him with it.
So-
So here it goes.
Yeah, you can follow this podcast on social media at HiveMindRadio _ on Instagram and Twitter. And you can follow LUURK at it's just at LUURK Music, I'm pretty sure, right? On Twitter?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
On
okay.
everything actually, so easy to find.
Yep. Is there any other socials you want to shill while we're at this point here, or
Any
Is there-
other socials?
does it work?
Me?
Yeah.
Subscribe to our YouTube.
Oh, true,
You
true.
can follow my other project. I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore tunes. We haven't made anything in a while, but we're planning on making some new stuff soon. So that's another thing that should be cool. That's coming up pretty soon again.
Awesome.
do?
Sick exposure. That's what we like to see.
True.
Yeah, gotta plug all the
Gotta get those
projects.
numbers up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. So do we want to get started with like the actual discussion at this point?
I mean, I guess.
You mean this wasn't already a discussion?
Yeah, wait, hold on. I thought we'd already gotten through the first like 4 questions.
No.
No, that was the interview. That's it.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we're thanks for
yeah.
joining us, man.
Yeah,
Really
of
appreciate your
course.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
we,
5
you know,
minutes of your time. Really appreciate
To
Yeah,
actually
5
help
minutes.
Jake before Jake loses his goddamn mind.
it. Implying that it already
Who says he
hasn't been
didn't
lost.
already?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Tell us about yourself, LUURK. Like, what you do normally, what got you into music, how you became a producer, all that fun stuff.
All right, so basically, I started making music when I was 11. I was actually really into Skrillex when I was 11, and I was like, I remember telling my dad one day, I was like, I really want to be like that guy. And then, um, and then I started making music, and I made a ton of horrible sounding stuff. I would never show anyone. Actually, some of it is online, but so yeah, that's what got me started as far as making music goes. But a funny story how I thought of the name though. I thought of that in the shower like 2 or 3 weeks before the release of my first song in 2017, like when I was first going serious. And I was like, I got it. Yeah, and then from there, I kept producing. So, yeah, I produce, write. I also started singing recently a little bit too. So, kind of a jack of all trades, I guess you can say.
So what do you use to produce, right? Like do you use like GarageBand, like that sort of thing, or is it something like way more complex?
I use Ableton currently, but I mean,
Okay.
I'm pretty sufficient in Logic too. I use both of those kind of simultaneously, but it's just different workflows. Like they can all pretty much do the same things. It's just a
Right.
matter of like, your personal workflow. So
I think it's really funny that you told your dad that you wanted to be like Skrillex, because I know that like if I told my parents that like back at that age, they would have been like, all right, show us a picture. I would have pulled up one picture of Skrillex and they would have been like, hell no. You're not
Yeah,
being anything
yeah,
like that, dude. Like I don't care. I think they would have the same effect if I played him any dubstep too, actually, come to think of it. Like
dude, I love that stuff back in the
I'm
day.
saying, man.
That was like my calling, Like
Dubstep really hit different in 2014.
That's
it
what I'm
was
saying.
so different back then.
There was a nice period there, I think from like 2013, 2016, where shit was really, really good. I feel like there's been some of like a return to form too. Like, do you ever listen to December? Right, you know what I'm
That
talking
sounds
about?
familiar.
He came back as Chime, and he's got like a new project out that's supposed to be like a callback to like the 2013, 2014 era of dubstep. And it's really nostalgic. I'm really feeling it, but
I don't know how well that would do like in this day and age now because it's all Terror Squad.
right,
Not gonna name names, but Zomboy.
Dude, you can't be calling out Zomboy like that, man.
Oh, he already knows.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
think
if you
everybody
guys
who
remember
listens to
that.
Zomboy knows.
I don't know. Do you guys remember that whole situation with like all his love and bro step or whatever with
It has been
Terror
so
Squad?
long.
That was like
remember.
there was like this whole thing because like apparently they were at some party or something
Mhm.
and he heard like the demo or something and then he was like he really liked it or something and somehow I don't know if I entirely believe that, but
yeah, I don't know. I remember there being a huge amounts of like drama surrounding Zomboy like way back then. But I was at that point I was like 12 or 13. I didn't give a shit. Like I was just there to listen to dubstep. Right? Like I
thought
I don't care about the drama.
I thought it was so funny when I heard about that. I was like, wait, what?
So, speaking of, I guess, like, do you have a favorite EDM artist? And then also, too, like, who would you consider your favorite artist currently, like right now?
I really like Millennium. I honestly I don't listen to that much in that genre anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm so out of base with like what's going on there. So
Honestly,
I haven't
same.
really. The last thing I did was maybe work on some deep house, and that was like That was like during quarantine. I actually finished the song. We got it mixed and everything, and I just didn't want to put it out. But I don't know. It was nostalgic for me. Like I thought it was a sick song, but it's just not who I am today. So
Speaking of what
like,
you are today, what influences what you produce today, like, do you have any particular bands that nowadays you trying to emulate their sound or try create something based off of it?
I listen to tons of Architects, tons of I listen to a lot of pop music too, so I really like Pretty Much. Actually, I do like it listening to Attila. It's great. I listen to a lot of metal, like Bad Omens. Those guys, they're all sick. Like,
Convenient you just mentioned that because I just listened to their debut album for the first time yesterday.
it's awesome, isn't it?
It's growing on me fast. I wasn't huge on it at first listen because like I was expecting it to sound like Finding God Before God Finds Me, and it's pretty different. But
It's
it
super
is
different,
growing
yeah.
on me for sure. The more I listen to it.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
I mean,
I was
it's a
gonna say, I'm
great
glad you can
album.
appreciate pop music as well, right? Like I'm a huge okay. There is like a wrong answer to this question, but there are many right answers. Who is your favorite pop artist?
My favorite pop artist.
Yep.
Let's see. Actually, my favorite pop artist is probably Pretty Much right now. Those guys are so sick.
Okay,
Like,
I'm with it.
cause like they dropped that EP and they're going off. Like, it's so good. Like, that's been on my repeat at least for like pop music.
They were like super on my radar, and then you sent that, and I checked them out. I'm like, "Damn, this is pretty good." It's like a more interesting version of Party Next Door. I feel like in some ways, but
Yeah, I mean they're super sick. I actually like Why Don't We too. They're pretty tight. Like their newest album, sick.
there's a lot of like up and coming pop artists that I feel like not a lot of people have heard about, and I have a feeling the next couple of years you're gonna be like hearing a lot from them, right? Like
Oh yeah,
there's got to
definitely.
be a new era coming. Maroon 5 can only make the same song so many times before some other new artist needs to hit the charts, right? Like
Hey,
it's got to happen.
let's not forget what he's sad about though. That bands don't exist
Oh yeah,
anymore.
bands are
Sorry,
gone. Bands are
sorry
gone.
guys, no bands.
Anybody
Okay,
in a band listening right now, pack it up. I'm
all
sorry.
right.
You could be a musical collective, but there's no more bands.
Okay, so what happened to like Paramore and like what are they called?
What happened to Maroon 5?
Yeah, gone. Maroon
He
5 is the only band.
Yeah.
it's the only band that exists. There's no other band.
So what about like high school bands? Are those just not bands anymore?
No
No.
such thing.
Damn.
Yeah, sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, everybody in band right now, pack it up, go home. Your elective doesn't
See-
exist anymore.
Yeah.
See, American Idol's crying right now because they can't get any more bands.
They got bands, they just got singers.
Exactly.
No more singers to end up in bands.
Nope.
Yeah,
Chris
they're-
Daughtry in shambles right now, dude. Like,
remember, the common misconception is the singer's the band. Never forget that.
that's true. Too many underappreciated like instrument players in bands. I saw, speaking of Maroon 5, actually, I saw something interesting the other day where it was Adam Levine from Maroon 5 and Sammy Hagar from Van Halen who were like
Okay.
talking with each other, and they said that there was such a thing that other lead singer syndrome, where like the lead singer feels that they're the most important, they deserve all the attention, whatever, is a real thing, but that you don't have to be a lead singer to have lead singer syndrome. It's like the guitarist could do it, like they feel like they're more important, or like the bassist or the drummer or whatever. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Like you never really see really like those other members having like a public ego, right? But I imagine like within the scope of the band, there could totally be something where the artists feel like they're being underappreciated for what their work is. I don't know. I think it's interesting, like band dynamics, right? And I suppose
Definitely.
it might be more easy for you as like a solo producer, right? Like you don't have to deal with everybody else's like bullshit, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, I've definitely dealt with it during No Way Back when I brought a lot more people onto the project. I'm not gonna really like name any
Right,
names or
right.
say anything about it, but like I'm gonna tell you, it was hell. And working with other people's hard. I mean, now, I'm definitely in a more inclusive environment,
Mhm.
like working with a lot of different people, but it has its trade-offs and whatnot. Because how it is now, like I have a pretty tight group of guys that I work with now, just to make everything pop and work well together, So
Yeah.
so I would definitely say like it's not really a band, but it technically is the band. Like if I were to name some names, like my guy Joey and my guy Thomas, and then my homeboy Seth. Those guys are some pretty awesome dudes. that work with me on a lot of my stuff. So pretty much most of my stuff now, at least. So
Nothing but love for the homeboy Seth, right? Shout out the homeboy Seth.
we got to shout out Seth Munson. He's a great person, engineer, and he's an amazing songwriter as well.
I guess that's something I never really took into consideration, right? That like even solo artists have a bunch of people who work behind them, like solo producers,
Oh,
that sort
yeah.
of thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not all me, like
Right.
I would never take all that credit because it's not it's not all me, and those guys really, help me paint the picture because it makes it better in the end.
How does a song normally
once you
Oh,
find
boy.
the right people,
God damn it.
like once you find the right people to work with, like and it all just clicks, like making stuff just becomes so much easier. Like no matter what you're working
Exactly.
on.
Yeah, I mean, I can send like Joey my rough like demo with like fake guitars and stuff, and he'll send me back everything really sick and tight. So, like, I can't really complain. He's the man.
I mean, like hell, if you want a good example of it, the four of us starting up this podcast a year ago.
Right.
I was
like,
gonna say.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
I don't
I
think-
dig it.
I mean, some of us hadn't even like I don't think I'd spoken like in or to
Person.
Jacob, I
Yeah,
guess,
that's
like
true.
like in anything
I don't think
except
I'd
text.
spoken to Justin either.
No, the only time I'd only spoken to Derek was when we found out we were both in the same state. We were like, "Hey, there's a show here. You want to go?"
Yeah, that's true. It was the Wage War tour with Polaris, like Massa Flames, and Dayseeker. That's
And
dude,
pizza.
that's
actually
insane.
And pizza.
that was a sick ass tour. Yeah,
I love
that's
Dayseeker.
Story time.
we
Look,
saw
we all have
Dayseeker,
regrets.
and we have regrets because Polaris and like Massa Flames put out two sick albums last year. Neither of us were super into them at the time, so we went, saw Dayseeker, got a picture with Roy Rodriguez, and dipped, and like went and got pizza. Like we skipped
I
out on the rest of
told
the
them-
show.
I told
I
them
felt
to
so-
go too.
In hindsight, I'm beyond pissed, right? Like I would take that live set over pizza any day. But I actually think it's really interesting that I met Justin in person before I spoke to Jacob for the first time.
Huh.
And I think I knew you like 3 months before then.
Well, no, because we'd been doing.
We-
Was
we
that
had
20? No,
been-
no,
we
we've
had
been
been-
talking in
Since-
Discord for like what since
like-
2018.
Yeah,
I remember-
2018.
I think the first time is the
2018, okay.
Amaranth album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Amaranth the first one that we did together?
I have absolutely no
I
idea.
feel like
I might have to go in the screenshot archives for that one.
Yeah, that's a callback.
yeah.
I remember it was like every week we did Disturbed one week.
Disturbed is the same night as Amaranth. I thought.
Was it?
I don't know. All I remember is that Disturbed album sucked.
Yeah.
That's the only part of that I remember.
There it was like
Oh man,
Disturbed was either the same night as Amaranth or Normandy. I forget which one of those it was.
One of the two.
I
One of the
love
two.
Normandy.
God
So
bless
good,
it.
man. So good.
They're great. Also, Disturbed nowadays is all the same,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
especially like, don't even get me started on the album that David Draymond did for Vengeance Falls for Trivium, dude.
Ugh.
It was so overproduced. I was like, man, you guys tried way too hard.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many like departures from sound. I feel like that people try to make work and they try too hard to make it work, and it just ends up sounding like shit. Right? Like you.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to try things for sure, but like if you're like itching so far to get, that end result that you really want and it's not, going as you expected, you probably should, step back and maybe like introduce, other elements that that you're known to, I guess, kind of.
Right.
And, refamiliarize yourself with what you know already, but then, put a twist on it because that's not always a bad thing to do.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because like for you it was successful, right? Like that change in sound because No Way Back sounds like an overall departure, I guess, from a lot of the older material that you'd put out. So like what inspired you to switch up genres like that way? And do you plan on continuing on with more, I guess, like scene-esque music, right? As opposed to like chill EDM type music, or that like
Sure.
side project you mentioned, like is that something where you explore the EDM side and this is more of the scene type side, or what are your plans?
So basically, what really started it was there's this song called Silence that I have with some of my guys. and Nick, who's the singer in my other project called I Don't Know Anymore. We actually were writing that song. Not actually, that song was supposed to be for that project, but that didn't really happen. But I noticed, like, as soon as I started making like alternative rock sounding stuff at that point in time, I was like, oh, I really need to start doing this, like everything started shifting because like everything started sounding, like a lot more like real instruments and like more like atmosphere and stuff, I guess. And honestly, I wasn't really vibing with, that old, like EDM kind of stuff anymore. Like it just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't resonate with me as much anymore. Like I feel like I've grown past it. Like I can still appreciate that stuff and like I can listen to it, but it just doesn't hit, like on my soul anymore. And it, it used to be so euphoric for me, like that's what it's all about, and like there's a lot of people that will continue trying to make like, like that genre. And I'm not going to say it's dead, but I think, like people are moving, even
It's
past
stagnant.
it, and yeah, I mean, I don't really ever see much, growth in that genre anyway. As far as like implementation goes, because a lot of it sounds the same, and a lot of it's, kind of just like, oh yeah, this is okay, this is gonna happen, like you get your verse and then you get your, hyping up to the drop part, and then you get that as the climax, like I don't really find that like, super hype anymore.
Well, it's been done to death, right? Like every rhythm song I feel like nowadays sounds the exact same, and I've tried, but like it feels like I'm hearing the same stuff I was hearing back in 2016, which is part of what you mentioned, right? Like it's way too stagnant. Whereas it feels like with this genre of music, there's a lot more areas to be explored, and like more technical areas that you can get into in terms of like instruments, production, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I feel more, open now, I'm still gonna make pop music, like I really want to make some sick pop music, like it's not going anywhere. It's just if the time, if it feels right, so I'm not really trying to like, destroy myself. I'm gonna try and maximize on as much as I can with different genres. But I really try and make what I'm feeling, because like at the end of the day, we're just people, and we gotta, express ourselves in the way that, feels right. Cause a lot of people, they'll be doing like these certain sounds and stuff, and it doesn't feel anything for them. They're either just doing it for like a check, or like, for like a label, or, whatever it might be. And like, there's no real satisfaction at the end, like I felt a ton of like hype when I started, making that stuff. Cause it was just like boom, boom, like all that, like all those vibes, like are really coming out, and they're pouring out, like it feels really natural and super like, not me trying to catch a check,
Right. Well, you can feel that in the music too, right? Like that translates. You can feel when an artist or band is passionate about the work that they're doing, and they're into the music, as opposed to somebody who's only doing it. And you all the bands who like Fit for a King, right? Like that is the number one example that comes to mind, where these bands go more towards a radio rock sound, and you can't feel that passion in the music anymore. Like again, like you mentioned, they're chasing a check as opposed to doing it for the sake of themselves or for the sake of music. And I think that like No Way Back especially is a huge example of that. Like that track has so much like explosive energy. Like you can feel that track, I feel like, which is a testament, I guess,
I appreciate
to how
that.
talented and how much
real.
you feel through the music. I mean, it is. It's probably one of the most played songs of the year at this point.
Really
you also just
that,
got two incredible vocalists to feature on that track.
That too.
Like...
That too. It's like a match made in heaven. Like all the aspects put together.
That song actually sounded like a different song at first when I first made it, and I remember Julian and Joey were like, "What the hell?" and basically, like, I went through a gazillion revisions of that song, and then I ended up hitting up Devin, because I knew about his band before that, and then I just hit him up. I was like, "Hey, do you want to work on some music or something?" And then boom, and then we got that stuff done, and then like I told Julian later, I was like, hey, the guy from Sun Sleep is on it. You want to go on this song? He was like, yeah, sure. And then, yeah, the rest is history. And then we re-recorded guitars and drums like within that same time span. So, and then we got it mixed. And then basically, it would have come out in like December or something like that if a lot of things didn't happen down the line. But it's really good that those things happened
Right.
because it became what it is today. And I'm not mad or anything about that song. You know, like all those things that happened made it to what it is today, and like that's like the biggest thing.
Well, that's another great part of not having to rely on like a label or anything, right? Like you're only accountable really to yourself. So you can take that time to make the song the best it can be and not have to worry about deadlines or anything like that, right? Like obviously you
Definitely,
can set them for yourself, but
I definitely set them for myself, and a lot of the times nothing goes how I plan it, and that's fine. It never does.
That's how it always goes.
Like I won't even front with you. Like literally that song would have been out in like maybe November actually if like things didn't happen, you know?
right. You know, I so did you say that Julian was working on it with you prior to putting vocals down?
Well, no, I sent him the song. I sent him like the
Okay.
first pre-pro demo, and then I had these two other guys on board, whom are no longer involved in anything that I do. But yeah, basically that happened, and then there was a whole ton of stuff, and then basically later on we got his vocals and everything. So it all worked out well, and you know there were parties that were unhappy about certain things,
Mm,
and but at the end of the day, like I'm the sole proprietor of this. You know, like
right.
this is my work. You know, this is what I stand for. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna listen to anybody else. And you know, I could ramble on about this all day, but and I could say a whole lot, and I could talk shit, and I could badmouth any of these people, but like I don't have any reason to, like
Right.
there's no point.
What's done is done, basically.
Yeah.
I made amends with these people anyway, like it's not a big deal, but yeah.
So I guess that's when we first like reviewed the song. That was something that I was curious about was that like Devin and Julian both produce like a lot, if not all of their own like respective bands' music. So like did they
Mhm.
have any hand in the production process too, or were they just like vocal features?
They were singers and the songwriters on that one, but
Okay.
Joey, he actually was an additional producer on that one who also plays guitar for
Okay.
literally 99% of my songs. So
Hey, yo, shout out Joey.
Shout out
Good
Joey.
choice.
he's the man. Like literally, I remember when we were almost done with the song, and I sent it to Julian for recording and whatnot, and then within that same time span, like I said, we re-recorded the drums and guitars, and they were good before, but like they were blown out of the water after that.
So I guess like for this, right? Like you had a demo first of the song, right? And changed it a bunch like
Yeah,
afterwards.
it went through dozens of like revisions
So
and
would
like
you
reworking and etc. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that like normally how you write music? Like do you get an idea going with like a baseline demo and everything first, or is it all just like pop into your head at once and you want to get this going as soon as possible? You find the vocalist, get it moving.
So I write everything in my head, and then I go and produce it. But after that, once I actually put it down, I usually send it to my guys, and then we make tons of revisions after that. So like things constantly are changing, and they're never for the worst. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
even like production elements and other stuff. So I would say yes, things constantly change. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, and we don't really change things that don't need to be changed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of the process with that. But yeah, I usually outsource for vocals typically. Um but I love working with people, and I love featuring, different people, also, give them, a time to shine as well.
Right.
Because I find it more like more like a team effort, like that. That's the most important thing to me. Because at the end of the day, it's not even about me, like it's all about what we give to everyone else, like I don't even consider myself, like myself, I'm not the biggest thing. Like there's even an even bigger picture,
Yeah, I'm with you. No, I think that that's a great like mindset to have as an artist. I wish more artists had that mindset, right? Like I don't know. I think that's a great thing.
I guess if we want to like go on that point of features, are there any like dream vocalists or features that you want to work with in the future? Like if you could just work with anyone from any band ever.
I mean, I'd love to work with JT from Era. He's sick.
Oh, yes.
We talked the other day.
Oh.
So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. I'm not going to spoil anything or
Right,
say
right,
anything,
right.
because I don't know what's going to come out of it. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually already working with someone that I really wanted to work with. I know I told you guys, so
Right.
we're not gonna spoil anything.
Right.
We all know what's talking about.
Surprise.
We all know what's going on, but it'll be really sick. And then I actually had some really cool discussions with some other guys as well. I just the other day I was doing a lot of connecting, so finding new bands, finding new vocalists and stuff that are, I feel like a lot of people don't get a lot of shine, especially like now for some reason, like I don't know why, like I feel like a lot of people aren't getting like the results that they want, and I don't know why, if it's people not listening to music as much right now, or I don't know what it is, like, but we definitely have to work like 20 times harder.
I think that's like partially why I like to find a couple of hidden gems and like try and throw them into the podcast each month. Just like get some like I know we don't have the biggest audience at this point, but like just to get some like at least a little bit of exposure out there for some bands that like I think the four of us all agree on deserve more recognition than they're getting at this point.
Definitely,
Like
I
I
agree
know
with
with you on No Way Back, like hearing that for the first time, having never heard of you before, I'm like, God damn, that's like really good. Let's get that in there. And then was it last month we talked about Future Woes in the February recap. They have a bunch of potential as well, so
Yeah, small little
bands
like
like
Irish
that.
metalcore band, right? Like, or
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
I,
also like reached out to us about like how great it was to have an American, North
definitely.
American, I should specify, because
yeah.
Canadian, North American
Canadian.
podcast, North American podcast, have this, otherwise unknown name phase on the podcast. That was definitely a good reason why we kind of put out the lesser known bands as much as we can.
Well, I think it's more important now than ever, especially with like
yeah.
everything that's going on. Like you could even be like a smaller name, maybe on like a festival bill, and like get some sort of exposure that way. But there's no concerts, there's no festivals, at least in a majority of the world. Like I'm sitting there envious of Australia.
Yeah.
They've got like huge festivals, and like there's an Amity tour going on over there, and I'm like, I I really wish that we had that over here, but
In an alternate universe, it's
yeah, exactly. Maybe by the end of the year. I'm hoping.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Speaking of, so if you could pick like your dream tour lineup with you as the headliner, what artist would you pick and why?
Ooh, I would definitely hit up Loveless. Those guys are the homies.
Yup.
Good choice.
That's an immediate one. And let's see, I would definitely hit up Bad Omens, but I would make their name on the poster really small. I'm sorry, no, I had to roast you, bro.
A man of culture.
And then I would hit up Slaughter to Prevail. Like those guys are so sick. Alex is insane.
That's an interesting pick. I would have never expected that. I love that choice though.
So good. Dude, I would have so many bands. Like I would have everyone.
You get the whole
fucking-
ass festival going, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, like
LUURK
literally,
Fest.
fuck it. Exactly. Like literally, it would be super inclusive. Like tons of pop bands, tons of all that stuff. Like there's no limit. Like I don't know why like certain festivals have certain like genres and bands that play. Like who cares? you know?
Yeah.
The,
I
the
think
only
honestly,
reason,
and
the
this
only
is
thing I could think of for why like certain festivals are like catered towards certain genres is just to like
Juggalos.
yeah, that's the first thought that came to my mind.
like I'm just thinking like the festival organizers probably want like one genre just to try and sell to one specific audience, because if you get a bill of bands that is like all over the place, and like usually like some of these bigger
Nah.
festivals, there's like people that will only buy tickets to see like two bands. If you like get like pop, country, rock, metal, fucking folk, if maybe even get some folk performers at a festival as well, why not?
So
And like
disturbed.
yeah. Nice.
Definitely.
Like you get all
Yeah,
that,
in
and
a way,
then like
if it was spread out, yeah.
but
Yeah,
like
fuck.
it might just not attract like that big of an audience, because like people aren't like, there's a lot of people that shoehorn themselves into like one specific genre of music.
Nah, fuck
Yeah.
that. Fuck that. I
Couldn't
want to
be
see
me.
Chelsea. I want to see Chelsea Green open for Ariana Grande. I want that. I want that
Dude, hell
so
yeah.
bad.
Tom harmonizing underneath the
Yup,
Ariana. Hell yeah, dude.
I want the Tom Barber feature on newest redux of Thank You Next. That would go
Perfect.
stupid hard. Okay, I was joking, but now I really want that. I'm thinking about that. That would go
Hey.
hard.
I mean, ask him to do a cameo, and he'll probably do it.
I'm gonna reach out to Tom Barber. I'm gonna reach out to Ariana Grande and be like, look, I need this collaboration as soon as possible. In fact, I bet
God,
you can get
imagine
one
that
going.
meeting.
Right?
Like
That
that would be
would
the
be so
weirdest,
fucked.
the weirdest introduction.
That is just the strangest crossover
Images
I've
of
ever
that
heard.
collab get out on Twitter and other social media platforms, and fans start freaking out in confusion.
It's like-
Exactly.
It's
Who the
like a
fuck is this
weird
Tom
version
Barber
of
guy?
exactly. It's like a weird version of a Kingslayer by Bring Me.
I
It's like
love
just
that
so
song.
God,
it's
that
so
song,
good.
That song fucks.
Yeah.
That would be hell yeah, absolute banger.
Yeah.
So good.
Damn, Tom Barber, Ariana Grande. I'm gonna have to look into that. This has now become my passion project. Like
I'm
before
gonna
I
have to
die,
look into
I want time. Yeah, like I got the ability to do that, right? Like I'll reach out to a couple contacts.
Let's-
I'll see what I can do.
Let's
Yeah, no
make the
biggie.
Hivemind Patreon and start funding that to make it a
Yeah,
reality.
exactly. Look, I'm gonna save up. I'm gonna buy Ariana Grande VIP tickets when concerts come back. And she's gonna be like, "You want a picture?" I'm like, "No, I want Tom Barber on one of your songs." Like, that's the ultimate
Who the
goal.
fuck is that?
She's gonna be like, "Security, and get this weirdo out of here." I've got a demo of Tom Barber singing "Thank You" next to my hand. I'm like, "No, just listen, please."
Oh my
Oh,
god.
fuck.
There was a Architects Rickroll that happened recently.
Yes, that
Yeah.
unironically went really fucking hard.
That's
Like,
what
I
I
really
thought.
liked
That's what
it.
I was saying. I sent it to one of my friends that hasn't listened to Architects before, and she was like, "Oh my god."
I tried to get one of my other friends who's into architects with it, but it got taken down by the time they clicked on it. Like it actually got copyright strike.
Oh my god.
What?
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Did that?
Did
Was
anybody
that
save it?
actually?
Mhm.
Was that actually Sam's voice or what? What?
I don't think
know.
so.
I
No,
don't know
I think
what
it
was
was
up
just
with
somebody.
like that would be hilarious if it was, but it probably wasn't.
Let me see here. Oh, it's been removed by the uploader. Yeah, when I checked it the other day, it said it was taken down by copyright strike from whoever Architect's label is. I thought that was funny as fuck. I'm like, there's no way somebody from the label listened to it and was like, "No, we can't let this slide. Like this is unforgivable."
You could someone probably has that video downloaded. Like once something is on the internet, it is not deleted. It cannot be
yeah, for
deleted. It is
sure.
out there
It's
somewhere.
never going anywhere.
Just gotta
Ever.
dig enough. Dig deep enough
Exactly.
to find it.
Somebody's got it on their hard drive somewhere.
The Pirate Bay's got it, I'm sure.
Like,
Exactly,
I remember
it's
when
only a matter of time.
when Amaranth did their cover of what was it, Army of the Night back in 2018. That song was on Spotify for like one night, and then I wake up the next morning and it's gone. But I downloaded it to my computer as an MP3, so I was able to listen to it in the 2 weeks while
easy.
it wasn't like on Spotify. And I guarantee I listened to it at least like 60 times because I was just obsessed with it.
Oh my god.
Speaking of Architects, and I guess just other recent albums in general, I've like found myself having to go back to them with like a different ear, because since we started doing this podcast, I've listened to some albums and like taken notes in my head. I guess it would be like I'm sitting there trying to critique the band's sound, like rather than just enjoying the music for what it is. And I feel like it's kind of changed like the way I perceive a lot of music. So like for you, right? Like if you since like as a producer, right? Does that affect the way that you listen to music? Like, do you find
Not
yourself?
at all.
Okay, good, good.
I don't critique anything. I'm like, hey, but they probably did this on purpose for a reason, you know? And I'm like, this is sick. Like, I love that entire Architects album. I came in pretty unbiased though. Like, I've liked a lot of their stuff, and I was like, this is so good.
That's
know?
exactly how it was for me. No, I'm beyond happy with that album. I think
Like,
that's interesting though.
like the musicianship and everything on that album, kind of like when Issues dropped Beautiful Oblivion. Like, that album is incredible, you know? Like, that, like, all those riffs and all those, you know, like, crazy ideas, and like Skylar's bass, and like, god,
I
it's
still
like,
regret
it's
not
a
having
beau-
Beautiful Oblivion in my top 10 albums of 2019. That was a mistake on my half.
it's such a great album, I gotta say. Like, it's beautiful.
That would be something to look into, getting a Tyler Carter feature on one of your songs.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think
guess
we,
at
I
this
think
point,
we, I think we all know why.
yeah, at this point, he's put out some new shit. I don't know if you've heard it.
I actually liked it a lot.
I did too. There's like 2 more songs coming out next week. I think it is. And I'm like,
guilty of that. It's so
exactly.
good, though.
Well, that's like me with like some of Johnny Craig's new stuff too. Like, I know I shouldn't be listening to it, but like if it bangs, like I can't deny myself that good music, and I'm too weak-willed not to at least listen to it once to see if I like it. So I just keep falling into the same trap over and over again.
In a perfect world, Johnny Craig would be a good person.
Exactly. There's so many good voices that are ruined by them being bad people, bro. Like, you're so talented. You had everything in your hands. It's not that hard to not be a bad person. Like,
Or
yeah,
I don't
you know,
know.
it's not that easy, you know.
Evidently. I don't know. I guess that sort of lifestyle, you know, it can lead to some
Yeah,
interesting
I mean,
decisions being made.
it's all based on how you look at things, you know. Like,
Right.
you know, you could have this like whole like, you know, I'm gonna do this, you know, and like this is gonna happen, you know, and like you can have that entire mindset your entire life, but you know, if it's not reachable, especially for, you know, I feel like a lot of people like overstretch what they can do, and like you can always improve, but like you can't expect those results, you know, if you're not
Right.
gonna like put in that work, because like it's such a common like misconception too, like, you know, like people are like, oh my god, you know, they're doing this and this and this, you know, and I'm not getting that, you know, and it's like, well, there's a reason for that, you know, like it's you're the one that controls the show, you know, like
Yeah.
if you're the one getting down on yourself, and you're the one that's not, you know, putting in the effort that needs to be done, because like those people most likely are doing that, you know, and it's like you can be much better than yourself if you just keep one-upping yourself constantly, you know, like you can only get better, but if you just keep dragging yourself down, it's not gonna move anywhere, you know.
Yeah, and again, I feel like that's one of those things that you can feel in the music, and like even interpersonal like band relationships, right? Like I think of, I guess I don't know if you listen to any Fleetwood Mac, right, or like know anything about the band's history.
I don't really know any of the history, but
I mean,
yeah.
they were a very like incestuous band in the sense that everybody was dating everybody, and like they had a bunch of breakups, and so they started writing songs about one another and like how much they disliked one another on every album, and then they'd have to go up and sing those songs on stage because they all got really popular. And
Hmm.
it's very interesting to see like the decline in the quality of some of the songs as time went on, because they're all at each other's necks. Because if you have to sing a song to somebody that you don't like about them in front of like 20, 30,000 people every night for a month, like that's obviously going to take a toll on the whole writing process. So I think that's spot on, right? That
Yeah.
people drag themselves down more than they need to. And yeah, no, I think it's, if, at least for you, with the way that No Way Back alone, and especially some of the demos you sent us, has sounded like it's only up for you from this point. I mean, everything just sounds
Hey, I mean, I
phenomenal,
appreciate
I
that, man.
think.
I
I
mean, like
fully agree.
literally, like literally, there was a lot of stuff before that song that was going on, like in my personal life, and like there was like,
Hmm.
and I'd say there's like a little bit of relationship stuff in there too, and
Mm,
like that stuff's unavoidable, but like I had a lot of anger and I had a lot of stuff like that I just had to let out, like
yeah.
that I feel like is a big drive on what a lot of the new stuff was is and is gonna be because
Mm,
there's a lot of like unfinished business, I guess you can say, with like previous
yeah.
things, and that's fine. I let a lot of that stuff go, like I constantly move on with my life if something happens or like different people leave my life, like,
Right.
and I feel like a lot of that is a big drive for me, like what happens in my life, like I feel like you can hear it in those like production elements and like like what I'm saying, even if like lyrically it's not really necessarily about that stuff, like, and people can connect on it on totally different levels, like it's not always about what's like up front and right in your face, like,
Hmm.
so that's what I that's my biggest thing now too. Like I really want a big, like, it's more of an experience to me, like I don't want I don't
Yeah.
want,
It's
somebody
about the
just to
journey,
listen
not the
to it.
finish
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, and I like I want whoever listens to this stuff, like whoever you are, I appreciate you. But it's all a journey, like that all that stuff
Hmm.
is a buildup of what may have happened in my life or their lives. Like we get shit off our chest all the time.
Well, I think that in that sense, you're almost not lucky to have had those things happen, but lucky that you have the outlets that you do. Because like music is obviously a very powerful thing, but for us, like we don't produce, we don't make music. For us, it's we get to listen to music, and that's our form of catharsis. Whereas for you, you've got music to listen to, as well as the outlet for you to put your own feelings into music to give out to other people that then use that very same music as a way to escape. I think that that's got to be one of the best
It
feelings,
really is. Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's where I'm most vulnerable too, like that's all of
Mm,
me on the line, like it's my entire truth, like that's like that's like my entire like piece of my heart, like it sounds cheesy, but it's really like it's seriously true.
well, it's just a testament to how passionate you are about what you do, right? I mean, yeah, no, I think that that's great. Um,
It's always an awesome
I
feeling,
guess
like
we,
when, like, as the four of us, we all listen to music is like a form of catharsis, as you mentioned, in some way. When you find
yeah,
like a lyric from a band that hits you personally, like they don't come around super often, but sometimes there's just that one lyric or one instrumental bit that just hits. Like that feeling is just unlike anything else.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and what's crazy about No Way Back is it really matched everything that was going on in my life lyrically too. Like it all lined up with the past and the future, Like it's
mm,
crazy how that happened because like I'm not going back, Like all those past things, like they're done, Like we can't go back. We can't backtrack. You know how people like go back to their exes or like all that stuff, and sometimes that's a good thing. But in my mind, I feel like a lot of the time when people do that, they're just backtracking into you know what wasn't going to be you know substantial to their life.
yeah, no, I'll follow. I'm with you. No, it is. I think that's actually honestly great insight. Have you, if music for whatever reason doesn't pan out, have you considered becoming like a therapist or like a psychologist or anything like
I
that?
have
Like,
not, but sometimes I do tweet some pretty like deep thoughts, I guess.
oh yeah.
So sometimes whenever I get in my feels, I'll just write it out. But um, I'll definitely think about it.
I think what you got to do is just have people sit on that long ass chair or whatever it is, like laying back, and then you just put no way back on repeat, and just
And say
leave and wait and like wait an hour, and then they come back and they'll be like, "You better now? No, okay, leave for another hour and just wait."
exactly. That's like
Enough of that production. They'll be better in no
exactly. We'll
time.
just play them the instrumental. They don't even need the vocals, you know.
Exactly.
Give them the
They're
vocals
like
on a
3 hours
premium.
in, and they're like, yeah, exactly. It's an extra $50 an hour if you want to hear the vocals. No, you come back like 3 hours in, and they're like, "Damn, I really like what you did at 33 seconds. Like that nuance really speaks to me." And you're like, "Yep, just stay here for another 3 hours. You'll be fine in no time."
Yeah, we'll just replay that same portion
Yup,
until you admit it.
Oh man, well, thank you for joining us. This has been awesome.
Of
I
course,
guess
anytime.
we wanted to have one more final question, which I guess
Sure.
you've touched on a little bit. That 2021, just overall with everything that's going on, we're seeing some new album announcements. We are seeing, potential for concerts back this fall, that sort of thing. It's overall got the potential to be like a huge comeback year for the music industry as a whole. So by the end of 2021, where do you see yourself, and do you have any specific goals for the end of the year?
Specifically, I just want to put out a lot of music. That's the
Fine by
biggest
us.
thing.
Yep.
Like that's my biggest focus. I don't really have anything else really in mind. I do have, some of my own personal goals that I want to
Right.
reach, but aside from that, I just really want to put out music and, release that for people that are listening, like that's the most important part to me. I mean, I'm not really a band per se, so
Mm,
I'm not sure if you'll really see any concerts, but definitely, hopefully, some music videos and stuff because that's what I'm hoping. I can definitely start doing.
right.
As soon as possible. Um, but that stuff just requires a lot of planning. I don't really
Yeah.
know too. I don't really know too many people that do that stuff in my area at least. So definitely,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to outsource and talk to different people because that'll definitely make that process faster. But I definitely have a good idea for different stuff like that because um, I just barely started putting lyric videos out. Like like I would just drop music and just like not do that. Like back in the day, like that was just not my jam or whatever for some reason. But definitely a lot of content. Trying to get more definitely drop some stuff on TikTok as well. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a surprising outlet, I guess, that people have been able to get exposure on. Like whatever algorithm decides what people see on TikTok has been going off recently. Like I personally don't have it, but I know that like one person gets a hold of it and all they need is a little bit of exposure and then boom, like you've got like 100,000, 200,000 plays. It's crazy. Like
Oh,
the
definitely.
opportunities for growth there are insane.
Yeah, I mean, and I put out a cover recently on there. So I'm a
Mm.
little bit new to it. It was really awkward. I'm really bad on camera.
Same.
But
That's why I'm trying to like do video editing like behind the scenes. That way, like I don't want to be in front of the camera. Just leave me behind the camera.
Exactly.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I get less nervous, if I'm behind the camera, but I'm totally fine with doing it. It's just like it's super nerve-wracking, like God.
Well, that's one of the benefits of being a producer, I suppose, right? Like you don't have to be the frontman for a band or anything. You can just do things on your own terms, and you don't have to be out in the limelight all the time. But you can if you want to be,
Yeah,
right?
I
Like you've got
mean,
that choice,
yeah, I mean, definitely I try and show my face more now since like a lot of people represent that with like my face, so
right?
like I had to learn to get more comfortable with that, and like that's still a work in progress. You know, like I don't know how long that's gonna take, but you know, I'm just a regular dude. You know, like I'm just like anybody else. You know, like I have my stage fright. You know, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Oh shoot, you got nothing but time, and for all intents and purposes, I only see it going up from here. But
Hey, well, I really appreciate that. You know, you guys will definitely be along for the ride. Because I know you guys will be.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But
Yep.
you're the new homies. You know, I got you.
oh, but we can't forget Joey.
Oh yeah, no.
Shout out
Joey.
Joey.
Shout out
Can't
Joey.
forget
It's Seth,
Joey.
right?
Seth,
Can't forget Seth.
Can't forget
Last
Seth.
one, Thomas, right?
Yeah,
Just call him
3
Sean.
for 3. Shout out Thomas.
He makes such good drum tracks. He's insane. Everybody should get drums from him for the rest of their lives. Like he is.
Yeah,
so good.
everyone reach out to him. No one else.
No one
Yeah,
else.
exactly.
No one
Nobody.
else.
If you're not going to Thomas, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. You know, like level up.
So
All right, well, thank you so much.
I guess we
All
can start
right.
to put like a bow tie on this. First up, I don't even think we have an official name for what we're calling this
We
yet.
don't.
Oh fuck no! That's way too much planning.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually in post, right?
Yeah,
like
True.
One day.
one day. This
You
may
give
be
us too much
uploaded
credit,
as
we
the raw
won't.
like audio file. We don't know. It'll be like 6numbers.mp4, and we'll figure it out like 3 months from now.
Oh no,
Oh,
Jake's,
sounds
Jake's
good.
gonna still edit this. We can't stop
Yeah.
him.
Just let me
I will
know.
have that under some sort of control at the very least.
Exactly. You know, that's how it be.
Yeah.
He can't control us, but he can at least control the the post product.
Yeah,
I'm the one recording this. I'm in total control here.
we're out of control.
Y'all-
but at
y'all
least he's
are
got
at
the
my
title
mercy.
on lock.
I'll just leave you guys to it. Like I'll let you go off.
Oh shit.
And by the way, all of this is unscripted if they didn't know that.
Yeah, man. And here they thought we were all scripted and had it all together.
Yeah,
Why'd you have to
Yeah.
spoil
We're
it
on,
for
like-
him? What the
We're
fuck,
on
man?
like page 26 of the Google Doc right now, reading off,
Yeah, exactly.
reading off the script off a teleprompter.
Gotta
You
hope
know-
it's not page 26.
Yes, Jacob, we know you wrote it all in Google Docs and you're, you know, writing every single thing we say.
Yep. Somebody asked one question out of order, and I was just like, "Oh fuck, what page are we on?"
Exactly. Lost in the sauce, man.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think we're pretty good to wrap this up. I'm gonna shill social media once again at the end of the episode. You can
Got it.
follow LUURK at LUURK Music on pretty much any social media. You can follow us at this podcast at Hivemind Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter for the monthly recaps and hopefully more episodes where we get to talk to more artists and producers and stuff.
Or maybe lurk again.
Yo,
Or
true.
again,
Hey, I mean, definitely down. I'm definitely open to it. So,
Always.
yeah, thanks for having me, and it's been sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks
Thanks for
for-
joining us.
Of
Thanks
course,
for reaching out.
definitely, and thanks for supporting everything, and it means the world to me. It really does. Like that's
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing I'm happy about.
We got every reason to listen, right? We got our ears peeled. We waiting for the next thing.
Absolutely.
Hey, well, it'll definitely be soon. I promise.
Hey, let's
another
go.
another reason to follow the social medias.
Exactly.
I definitely do tiny hints here and there. I don't really say much, but
Breadcrumbs.
hell yeah.
Breadcrumbs.
Exactly.
Get the end product eventually, right?
Exactly. You got to start with the little breadcrumbs.
All right, so that's going to be a wrap. Thanks to anyone who listened to this episode, and stay tuned for more.
Absolutely.
guys.
Take it easy, guys.
Have a good one.